All our relations walk with us on this web, but separation has led us to forget that we are surrounded with love and supported by the forces of spirit here with us. So when darkness lingers on, just listen for their song. 'Cause in our hearts, we are not alone. In our hearts, they are guiding us home. Every footstep ripples a million waves, shaping the world in ways that we may never know. And if we can just remember to relate, then we have a stake to nurture and to grow. As their whispers cross the lands, they offer us their hands. 'Cause in our hearts, we are not alone. In our hearts, they are guiding us home.
This is Wilman Ziada, New York City-based director and creator of theater, television, and film. And today I am thrilled to be speaking with the acclaimed sacred music artist and music producer, Ankara Rose. Ankara, how are you?
I'm so good, and I'm so glad to be here.
Ankara,
Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, well, thank you for being here. Your energy is not only healing, but calming. I know in our pre-interview, I was coming at you with this energy, this chaotic, and like literally as we were talking, well, me speaking, let's call a spade, your vibe is like so relaxing, and that is a gift. So I guess my first question for you, Ankara, is, was there one specific moment in your life, or a few moments in your life, when you realized that beyond being, a musician, that you had this special gift of healing?
Yeah, well, can I tell a little bit about like how I even got to do the work that I do?
I
'Cause it
would.
kind of like weaves into that.
I want you to speak the whole time, please.
Okay. I can do that.
Yes.
So, according to my mother, who's a semi-reliable source, I was singing before I was speaking. So, like, music has always been a part of my life. When I was 13, I found a guitar in a closet and I taught myself to play. And I was like a performing singer-songwriter in the rock and folk and jazz and like in that genre for many, many years. Playing in bars, playing locally. I was lucky enough, to be paid to play original music, which is pretty rare. I'm in New Jersey and we love covers in New Jersey, and I'm not good at doing covers. But so, I was going down this music path. And at the same time, when I was about 18, I started going down a spiritual path where I really began to explore what's beyond what I can see, feel, touch, taste, and how can I move more of that into my space and weave it into my life. So I had these like two trains that were going in opposite, maybe not opposite directions. We'll call it parallel, right? And I have two kids. My first is 10. And when I had him, it was just a big stop to my performing. I didn't want to be out late in bars. I just kind of lost my feel for that whole scene. And so I, wrote some lullabies, but really took a pause from my performing part and dove deeper into my spiritual path. And then a couple of years later, it's like something just clicked. And I realized that even though they seemed very different, when I'm in the flow as a songwriter or producing music or performing, it feels the same as when I'm in deep flow and communing with my version of spirituality, right? We all have different versions. So once I made that connection, it was like, ding, and then all of a sudden, all of the sacred music started to pour out of me. And so that's how I stepped into what I'm doing now. And I just kept on getting an inspiration, and I taught myself to produce music because I was home with my kids and I needed an outlet and a way to reach people if I was home with my kids, right? With my music. I wasn't performing. So yeah, so I just kind of kept saying yes, and that's where I'm here. Did that, I don't know if that answered it, but that's my story.
5,000%. And what I love about your story is that you kept, dare I use improv term, but you just kept yes-anding what the universe was providing in front of you. You weren't fighting it. You were going down the path of least resistance, saying yes. And through your just moving through it and not against it, you were able to find and explore your authenticity as an artist, which many of us early on in our careers, correct me if I'm wrong, we think is maybe just one thing. Maybe for you it was, oh, I'm only an artist when I'm performing my original songs in a bar. No, being an artist is also what you do as a mother, as a songwriter, as a musician, as a healer, and as a woman of the planet. And the fact that you now were able to step outside of that one lane that our world loves to put people in because it's easily digestible for them, you now, in a natural way, with no, ulterior motive, you have your own beautiful business, where the business of Ankara is reminding people it begins with you, because that's your truth, because you are living proof of reminding yourself and making the choice of reminding yourself, oh my God, it begins with me. And everything from that strong foundation is all wonderful because it's true.
And it's all from that same source. I love that. And it actually really, it even helped me to clarify, it's like what I was doing when I kept yes-anding the universe, right? Was like really what it was like total trust of myself,
That's right.
total trust of the universe, right? So it's really this beautiful, like deep, deep knowing that we're co-creating. And if I'm hearing a message, right? Normally, I think our standard, it's like, oh, you get that little like wiggle in the back, that tap on your shoulder, and we're just like, I don't know, it's not practical. I don't know how to do that. How can I do that? Right? And if we let ourselves stay in our heads with that, then as artists, we stop, right? And I think that's how a lot of artists get stuck in one genre or one style or one look or one, one expression, one artist name. When we can just begin to open up and to trust the inspiration that's coming through, right? I believe that's our gateway into being that authentic self, no matter what we're doing, right? It's like what the center, for me, it's my heart, right? I know that I can trust my heart. I fall into my heart. I lead with my heart and I follow with my heart. That's the truth of who I am. So, I have a business. I coach women. I do a lot of leadership things too. It's all the same thing though. Right. It's all the same thing. It's right. All coming from that same place.
Well, Ankara, I can relate, and I'll tell you a little bit, and thank you for providing a safe space for me to, release this, because that's also what you're talking about, release. And it's releasing the noise and the expectation of family, friends in the world. And for me, having I performed 25 years with my twin brother. And, after we headlined Carnegie Hall, it was like all this expectation of the world. Finally, after all this work to lead up to like the destination, the world, family, friends, agents, managers, publicists, now's your time, guys. Do the sitcom, do this. We had so many offers. And then I said, now Will has to be a director and a creator, because and that was so hard for everyone but that was me trusting. And I just got a chill when you were saying trust my heart, because I remember being on that stage and being like, I'm so grateful for this opportunity, but in me releasing this right now after this moment will allow other people who want to be here as their bliss. It'll give them, more room for them to do it. And I can't wait to build those people up. And I think for people like us, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ankara, we were always probably told growing up that we were too much, too lofty. Stop crying, why do you always feel for others? Think of yourself. But that and people probably thought we were maybe ego driven because we had these lofty plans, and maybe the preconceived notion was that we were thinking about ulterior, but no, like we genuinely put others first. And yes, of course, the spotlights might be on us at times because, we're the ones holding the baton, but I guess my question for you, with all of that said, and thank you for allowing me to release that,
Yeah.
is what I love so much about what you do and what people need right now is, obviously this was a time where we were all forced to reacquaint ourselves, I think, with our younger selves, which I think in my head is a little bit of that tapping, of that maybe tug of the heart. I'm curious some advice that you could give to the young Ankaras of the world who may be feeling like they're stuck, who may be feeling like they're too much, their emotions are too big, and anything else you want to say, because thank you for allowing me to, I'll step off my soapbox.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love that you're just being so authentic and open, because it opens a space for me to be the same. Yeah, so when I think of my experience being younger, I actually had probably, it was actually different than yours. I had a mom who was just like, follow your bliss. That was the only thing I got from her. Follow your bliss.
Oh my God, I can't, I
So
love
I
that.
had so much support with that. Like some of the other, like how to do that, like the structure that was needed to do that was completely lacking.
Right.
And so I, like, for me, my challenge was like moving forward. And it was about, like, in my younger years, it was about trusting myself, right? Like, do I feel, so my fears when I was younger was about like, will people accept me? Am I good enough? Is my work important? Right. And what I did with that, my way through, was I just kept creating. And every time that voice came in, I just had to say, but my heart wants to create. And so I would just keep on creating. I'm not someone who's competitive, and I'm not someone who is like, will push my way through. I really embody a lot of the sacred feminine principles, which is I grow it, and when it's ready to be birthed, there's nothing that's going to stop it from coming, right? And so that's kind of the space that I've taken. Now, I totally understand for a lot of the younger artists who are like, I want it now, I want it now. And there's definitely, like, what I know now, right, looking back, is there are ways that we can support moving forward without that push. Sometimes when we push too hard, like in my own experience, that's when I get off my center, and that's when I start feeling like, well, I need to do this, like, here's the right way, here's the right look, here's the right thing I'm supposed to say. You got to do Instagram, you got to do this, you got to do that. And for me, that never works. That's where I like crash and burn really, really quickly, because it's not authentic, right? So I guess the advice that I would give to someone who is on a similar path to me, maybe where you're marrying something with your music that's not necessarily related, or not related in an obvious way to the outside world, just keep coming back to, how do I want to put this? Hold on, stay with me. Yeah, it's like you have, I'm gonna go a little metaphysical here, okay? So it's like each one of us, we have our own, we're musicians, right? Or artists. We all have our own unique frequency, right? all of our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our knowing, everything within us has a different vibration, and you put it all together and it's like an orchestra. That is your unique frequency. Okay. When we try to stifle parts of the band, right, then we're not expressing fully, right? So every part of you, whether it's the artist or the comedian, you know, or the introvert, right? Like it doesn't matter. All of these parts make up you, and they're all important. And the last thing that I'm going to say is, the more that I include and I don't shame and make wrong any part of myself, the more that I can come to this in a way of wholeness, the more the doors open. So I don't I don't know if
Yeah,
that's
I
helpful,
mean,
or if I went
helpful.
around too
Are you
much, but
kidding me?
that's,
You have nothing
that's
to
where I'm at.
apologize for. I'm like over
Yeah.
here moved to my core. I mean, I'm like, you you are obviously a human being of this planet who has done the work, who has done the work on their craft, on themselves, and to truly wake up every day as a vessel, whether
Mhm.
it's as a mom,
Mhm.
as a songwriter, as a musician, as a healer, as someone who speaks and leads women, especially women, but all people, to the light, through the dark, through the grief, through the trauma, through the shame. I have never met anyone who has been able to fuse all of their skill sets quite like you. You've been able to naturally fuse. You're talking, and I'm like staring at you, and I'm probably, you see my face at rest, and it's like, but I'm like, I'm so moved because all I see for you, Ankara,
Oh.
is this beautiful quilt of all of these patches of different textures and shades, all within the same thread and through line of you're enough. It begins with you. Live in truth. Be your authentic self. And I'm just incredibly moved by you. And
Mm.
I'm so grateful for the time that you took. And I want to speak with you a little bit offline about something else. But in the meantime, I want to let everyone know, for more on the incredible Ankara Rose, you can read more about it right below this video. Ankara, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much. This was so wonderful. And yeah, just my heart is full. Thank you.